Whilst Wolves fans were upset when Nuno Espirito Santo announced he would be leaving at the end of the 2021 season by mutual consent, having delighted in the journey the former Valencia and Porto boss had taken them on, from the lower reaches of the Championship to the Premier League and even the quarter-finals of the Europa League, most admitted that it was time for change. His final campaign had been fraught with difficulty, with injuries to key players like Raul Jimenez and Jonny, heaping pressure on their small squad, Nuno himself appearing weary after the pandemic had limited opportunities to spend time with his family, and results started to take a downward trajectory. But those same fans were alarmed when Wolves' owners Fosun once again turned to Jorge Mendes and appointed his client Bruno Lage, who was approaching a year out of work. But fast forward to February 2022 and Wolves are flying high, with an outside chance of qualifying for the Champions League. But how has this little-known Portuguese coach done it? And what are his methods and tactics that have rejuvenated the Wolves squad? Today on FD Explained, we aim to find out. By the end of 2021, Wolves fans were only too happy for the season to finish. Just 4 wins in their final 13 games of the season had seen the Midlands club drop from 11th to 13th. Although they never once entered the bottom 6 and finished 17 points clear of 18th place Fulham, their 45 points was 12 fewer than their previous worst Premier League campaign under Nuno. Although his replacement Lage had been, according to The Guardian, coaching teams for 25 years, the majority of those had been at youth team level or as an assistant manager. Most notably on these shores to Carlos Carvalhal during his stints at Sheffield Wednesday and Swansea. To paint Lage out as a complete novice would be unfair, however, with the former right winger having been promoted from Benfica B to the first team job in January 2019 after Rui Vitória was fired. Lage oversaw a scarcely believable turnaround, as his side, which included Benfica stalwarts Grimaldo, Seferovic and Rafa Silva, alongside former stars João Felix and Ruben Dias, went unbeaten to the end of the season, winning all but one of their 19 games. Lage was named as the Primeira Liga and Portuguese FA's Coach of the Year, but after turning a £157 million profit in the summer, mainly thanks to the departure of João Felix, results suffered in his second campaign. After winning just 6 of their final 15 league games, finishing 5 points behind champions Porto, with Sergio Conceição's side also beating them in the final of the Taça de Portugal, Lage was fired in June 2020. It's probably not unfair to suggest that despite his 2 decades of coaching experience by the age of 45, if Lage hadn't been a Mendes client, he probably wouldn't have landed the Wolves job. But modern football management is as much about personal and sporting connections as anything else. He was arguably more qualified than Lampard, Arteta, Oli and Pirlo before they landed their respective jobs, and even Zidane's pre-Madrid coaching career paled in comparison to Lage's breadth of experience. And it's fair to say that any question marks around the appointment were quickly answered. It's worth remembering that Wolves found themselves 18th after 3 consecutive 1-0 defeats to Leicester, Spurs and Man United kicked off the campaign. But no one at Molineux was panicking, as they knew what they'd seen. Wolves had averaged 19 shots per game across those 3 matches, way above the 12.2 they had averaged across 2021, and put up 4.6 XG compared to their opponents' 2.3. Given the calibre of opposition faced, their performances, if not their results, had been encouraging. Wolves have lost just 4 of their 18 games since, with Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea and Arsenal the only sides to top their 34 points gained in that time. At the time of writing, they're sitting 8th, just 4 points behind 4th place Man United, with a game in hand on the side they recently beat 1-0 at Old Trafford in their first win there since 1980. The backbone of their resurgence in form, their defence. Whilst Lage might have initially tried to pivot the team into a high-intensity, all-action style in the opening few weeks, when that yielded no goals and crucially no points, he cleverly realised that returning to what had initially made Wolves so successful, defending as one, was the way forward. The raw numbers are spectacular. Only Man City with 14 have conceded fewer than Wolves' 16 league goals at the time of writing, with their record also the second best tally in Europe, a record they share with Marseille, Sevilla and Napoli. Across their 10 league games since the 20th of November, Lage's men have conceded just 4 goals, a penalty against Man City, a 95th minute Liverpool winner, a stunning free kick from Ward-Prowse and an acrobatic volley from Ivan Toney. Teams are either having to pull off the spectacular or the fortunate to score against Wolves, and it's no surprise when they conceded just 11.9 shots against per game, 4th in the division behind Man City, Liverpool and Chelsea. It's just as well, because Wolves have only scored 19 goals in 21 games this season, a tally which betters only Burnley, who have played 3 games fewer, and Norwich. This would be alarming for some teams, but such is the quality of Wolves' defending and confidence in their methods, this doesn't feel like a risk. Last season they scored 36 league goals, down from 51 the previous campaign, which still only averages out at 1.3 goals per game. This season they are running at 0.9, meaning that if they carry on at this rate they will finish the campaign with just 34, which, if they maintain their current position, would be the lowest goals tally managed by a side to finish in the top half in the Premier League era, with Burnley's total of 36 in 2017-18 holding the record for now. And it's not like they've been that unlucky in front of goal either, ranking 4th bottom of the league for expected goals per 90. However, they are only conceding 0.8 goals a match, their best average since the 1930s, which across a whole campaign works out to just 30, which would give them the best defensive record in the Prem in the last 2 seasons. So how has Lage kept Wolves so watertight this term? Well, as alluded to before, he essentially decided that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Despite his initial move to making the side more attacking, the former Benfica boss stuck to the blueprint established by Nuno, keeping the 3 at the back system that the likes of Conor Cody, Ruben Neves and João Moutinho have been accustomed to for so long now. As noted in a recent report by The Athletic, the 3-4-3 and 3-5-2 shapes are used by the club in the academy and under-23s. And despite Lage admitting he would prefer to play with a 4 in the back in the future, he also said it would have been a mistake to make such a drastic change as soon as he came in. This would have become evident to him when his side conceded 3 goals to Las Palmas in a pre-season friendly playing 4 at the back. This familiarity has meant that a player like Max Kilman, who before this season had made just 16 starts in the Premier League, has been able to take his defensive game to a new level in a back 3 with Cody and Roman Saiz, who have played alongside each other 186 times since arriving at Molineux in the mid-2010s. He now makes 3.7 tackles and interceptions per 90, up from 2.8 last term, while his tackle success rate has also increased from 74% to 83%. With such a trusted pair next to him, the Englishman has had the confidence to step out and break up attacks with more frequency. In a side which presses less than any other in the league, despite maintaining a rigid defensive shape, Kilman's tenacity along with Moutinho and Neves, who rank among the top pressing midfielders in England, has been essential. While Lage must be thankful for the back three's consistency and fitness, until Saiz left for the AFCON, the trio had started every game of the campaign. But while sticking to the tactical blueprint of Nuno was wise for a manager taking over such a small, well-drilled squad, the club's recruitment department must also take credit for their excellent defensive record this term, as the signing of Jose Sá has been a transformative one. Last season was one to forget for former stopper Rui Patricio, with the Portugal #1 conceding over 3 goals more than he should have according to post-shot expected goals, with only Newcastle's Carl Darlow and Southampton's Alex McCarthy faring worse in this metric. But this season that has all changed. Whilst Wolves' defensive setup has been excellent, they have still conceded fewer goals than performances have warranted, currently ranking 7th in the league for expected goals against. But with Jose Sá between the sticks, when the back 3 has been breached, opposition attacks have often been stopped by the last line of defence, with the former Olympiacos man saving over 6 goals more than he should have after 21 games, with only Man United's David De Gea, who's been back to his best this term, saving more in the English top flight. Sá has in particular been superb at coming off his line to clear danger, doing so 16 times in his first 20 appearances of the campaign, a figure only matched by Tottenham skipper and sweeper-keeper veteran Hugo Lloris. This confidence can also be seen when defending set pieces, from which Wolves were yet to concede this season until their recent victory over Brentford. While new goalkeeper coach and set-piece specialist Tony Roberts must also take credit for this, the speed at which Sá has adapted to a new league, commanding his penalty area as well as any in the division this term, stopping more crosses than anyone bar Brighton's Robert Sanchez. If Sá stays in this kind of form, the players in front of him will only continue to grow in confidence. While the race for the top 4 may be beyond them at this stage, fans are well within their rights to dream of a first ever top 6 finish in the Prem. If he can manage it, then Bruno Lage will have masterminded one of the greatest defensive seasons in the competition's history. So guys, that was how Bruno Lage transformed Wolves into European contenders. What did you guys think of the video and what do you guys want to see us cover next on Explained? Get your answers in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed the video, please smash that like button and subscribe to Football Daily, and I'll catch you next time.